Flywheel. You're known by your parents as Flywheel, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Why do they call you Flywheel?
'Cause I run around so much and I spin really good.
You're 10, maybe 11 years old. Your home was destroyed by the fire. Those strange, wild people with their animals, the wolves and the bear. They burnt your cabin to the ground. You, your mother, your father, and your sister. What is your sister's name?
My sister's name is Allie.
Allie, as she's known now, but she will become Lenormand. The two of you, along with the rest of your family, have found some sanctuary. Your parents had traded with a few outsiders. The two of you had had very little contact with the outside world your entire lives. You've been sheltered and protected in the mountains, deep and far away from all of the chaos, the roving dead and the scavengers, ravengers, and killers. But now, with your home gone, your family has made a desperate deal. They work night and day to provide services that both of them, geniuses in their own right, are able to provide, helping to maintain the mechanical and electrical devices that Sullivan needs to maintain some semblance of their existence here. There are a few scattered electric lights, there are generators, there's what's remaining of an enormous concrete overhang, once an overpass for a highway, though you have only read about those. Now it's covered in greenery as nature has reclaimed this place. Forests surround you, but there are remnants, reminders of this broken, shattered world, the world that your parents came from. You've heard many stories about that time. Every once in a while, they've shared a movie with you. You've heard music. It's magical when it happens, and you see a place and a time that makes no sense to you whatsoever. It seems like a fairy tale. But you've learned a lot from it. Here in Sullivan Town, while your sister is off, and your father is currently climbing these enormous poles that are strewn throughout the town. On the top of them are large electrical lights that have been built. Here in Sullivan Town, those incandescent bulbs are made. There are glass blowers, and they melt rubber to make electrical conduit and cabling. All of it is essential to the other communities that wish to survive in this manner, those who wish to maintain some of the creature comforts of the world before, the lost world. But your father and your mother have these skills. And so your father is constantly 30 feet in the air. For the past 6 weeks, he's been rewiring every inch of electrical cabling that runs around the perimeter of Sullivan Town. You and your mother, however, have been working on the generators, and both of you currently are covered in grease and grime, head to toe filth, as both of you work fervently at these generators that are the lifeblood of this location, this town. Your mother is digging through a toolbox, and underneath one of the generators you hear a cranking noise, and eventually she peeks out and looks to you. Flywheel, honey.
Yeah.
Flywheel. Yeah. Can you hand me the 2-inch socket wrench, please? It's in the box to the left, the red one.
Sure. Yeah, got it. And I dive for it.
You start digging through the boxes, and you immediately, you know these tools well. They're your mother's, and one day they'll become your own. But You pull out the 2-inch socket wrench and give it to your mother, who grabs it with a dirty hand and begins working very, very intensely at trying to unleash this bolt that is rusted solid onto the side of this makeshift generator. This room, it's a small tin shack. It smells like biodiesel. Heavy, heavy smell. You've grown to like it.
Is it coming loose?
No, honey. Can you hand me some of that pig fat in that jar over there?
Yeah. Grab it. Hand it over.
She takes the jar from you and slathers the bolt with grease and then tries once again. And while she's working, she looks to you. All right, honey. How do we fix something that's broken? What are the steps? Tell me again.
First diagnose the problem.
Right.
Find what parts need the solution.
Right.
Locate and apply.
Well, we have to test. At what point do we test, Flywheel?
Before, after we diagnose, and then after we apply?
That's right. And then what do we do last?
I forget.
If necessary, we repeat.
You see Flywheel whisper it a few times under her breath.
You repeat this list of steps that your mother has taught you in trying to diagnose a broken piece of machinery, and it's become second nature to you. You were tinkering with mechanical devices when you were old enough to walk, trying to figure out how things worked. Your mother becomes fairly serious, kind of throws the wrench down, grabs a water bottle and starts to drink and hands it over to you.
Mm-hmm.
She wipes her hands off with a dirty rag, wipes a smudge off of your face, licks the rag, and then moves it across your cheeks.
Ugh.
You can fix anything, right?
Yeah.
I believe you could. These people that we're staying with, it's different now. You know that, right?
They're not like the ones who came, but they're not like you or Dad either.
No, they're not like those that came, that took our home from us, but that doesn't mean that they're good. I don't want you to trust them. I don't want you to talk to any of them when your father or I aren't around. I've seen you talking to some of them, and we told you not to do that. So I know you're curious. I know you want to know what happens here, but you can't fix this place, Flywheel. You know that, right?
Well, what's so wrong with it?
Well, I suppose it's not the place. It's the people in it. They're not like us. They've seen, I think, the world as it is now, and other than accepting it and learning how to live with it, they fight against it. They try to change it. They try to fix it. And this world, it can't be fixed.
I never want to be like that.
She strokes a stray hair away from your forehead, out of your face, and looks at you, her hand resting on the side of your cheek. But you have a much more important job than fixing these generators. You know that, right?
Like what?
It's Allie, your sister. She needs you. She's different. You know that, right?
I mean, like, yeah, like different. Like, we're all different, you know?
Yes, but you were just a baby. But, you know, your father... Your father had a brother that traveled with us, Uncle Henry. We don't talk about Uncle Henry very much because it upsets your father, but he was a lot like Allie. Do you know what I mean?
Allie likes rules like I like rules sometimes, but is a little louder about it.
Yes. Allie is very specific, very rigid. It's hard. It's hard for Allie to connect with other people. And now that we're around other people, your sister could say or do something that would get both of you, all of us, into trouble, you know? And so it's your job to support and protect Allie so that Allie can be Allie.
What happened to Dad's brother?
Uncle Henry said some things to some people that weren't very nice. They didn't understand Uncle Henry or why Uncle Henry would say these things. Why Uncle Henry would be so blunt. And they didn't like that. And when Uncle Henry didn't understand why Uncle Henry should apologize or even that Uncle Henry had done anything wrong.
Yeah.
They hurt Uncle Henry, and
I get it. I won't let anything happen to her.
I know you won't. It isn't long after that. Both of your parents are killed in the streets of Sullivan Town. You and your sister Allie escape. Your mother urges you both to run, and you do. And you nearly die out in the woods. The two of you manage to find a group, other young people like you, but they didn't have parents. Not that they remember. They're a group that have raised each other, survived. They're known as wild children, ferals, lost ones. The other survivors, the other communities call them a lot of things. Some of them not very nice. But everyone recognizes their ability to survive on their own. They don't seek the comfort of walls, and they live migrating around the area, scavenging and hunting. You and your sister learn a great deal from them. You learn how to survive. You learn how to feed yourselves, how to take care of your basic needs without having to be behind walls. There's a freedom to it, but after some years of living out there, you've noticed that your sister never really fits in the same way that you've learned how to fit in. And when that military group arrives in Sullivan Town, you and Lenormand have a very serious confrontation. The two of you argue, and eventually you make a promise. What was that promise?
That I would come back.
Lenormand, when you're on the back of the military truck, on the shattered concrete road, moving away from Flywheel, do you look back?
I'm looking the entire time. I know that I will not see my sister again until the winter when we meet at the place like she promised. And my sister has always kept her promises.
The tree line, you can't see your sister directly, but the tree line where you know she is and the others, you know how they move. You watch as it disappears. Flywheel, you watch as that loud, rattling truck, that caravan, moves off into the distance. And for the first time, you're alone. There are the others, those that you and your sister have come to live with, but it's not the same. You see, you and your sister have never been apart like this. It's like losing a limb. It feels wrong.
It's like you spend so much time being a certain way for someone, and that's all the person that you are. And you don't cry, and you have the answers. And then there's no reason for any of that anymore. So what are you?
It is as if no one understands you anymore. It is if you have to continuously explain yourself to these new people, and these new people, they do not get it, or they do not care to, they do not try. And all of them seem that way. That's what it is like for me. All of them, except for Rowan. Rowan tries to understand. And the other one. He makes me smile.
And Lenormand, as we know, you find a place that understands you, that taps into your gifts, that enables you to thrive. You become very good at the things you know how to do. Your intelligence is appreciated, rewarded, and no one seems to treat you differently. And those that do, they always seem to fall into ill favor with Rowan. Bad things, bad assignments, usually end up befalling those who treat you poorly. But Flywheel, you and these other dirty, wild teenagers, you migrate and you keep moving as you have. You travel. But as winter starts to approach, things become much more difficult. You see, even though it's cold, the dead don't slow down. When the snow starts to fall, they don't stop. It's always been this way. Something keeps them moving. In fact, they, if anything, move more, continuously in motion, as if to stop or to slow would cause them to freeze in place. Strange black bile that courses through them, pulling them forward like broken puppets. You with the others do your best to avoid these swarms, but the areas that are known as dead zones, they grow, and the migrations, they make any predictable journey or pathway next to impossible. And you start to realize that although you've been keeping track, you might not be able to make it back in time. How does that make you feel?
There's definitely a measure of panic. I've never broken a promise to my sister, and realizing that I might have to is horrifying, but at the same time there's a really sick small part that is relieved, because as afraid as I am that I'm gonna miss it and she's gonna need me, I'm more afraid at how much she might like it there.
You're afraid of who your sister might have become?
I'm also afraid of showing up and not finding her.
You're afraid of being abandoned. I would like for you to make a detect motives roll for me. I'd like for you to add 1 black die of difficulty. Tell me how you do.
Let's see, where is my detect motive? This is one that's always hard for me to find. There we go. Alright, definitely not. 8 plus 64 is 74? 74.
And what is your detect motives?
25.
So it's 5 degrees of failure regardless.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing you can really do.
Yeah.
Good to know.
It's the same. It's all bad.
Well, it's a catastrophic failure.
Yeah.
Would you like to ride out that catastrophic failure and see where it leads you? Or would you like to do something about it?
If this is to determine whether I think my sister will return or not,
I can't tell you what it's for.
right. I think I'm gonna ride it out.
You're choosing to let it ride out.
Yeah.
I suppose it's a month or two before you really come to realize what's happening. This isn't an accident. The pack that you are a part of always has an excuse. We can't head back now. We can't go that way. The dead are too thick. The roads, they're not safe. There are too many echoes. Those with guns would find us. Lie after lie, and it takes forever for you to realize that you're being manipulated, that you're being kept away from your sister and from the walls. Let's talk a little about the people that you travel with. The leader of this group, these wildlings, she's known as Styx. She's tall, bird-like. She has a mohawk that's been dyed deep green. She has tattoos across her face and her arms. She wears a lot of feathers and salvaged clothes from the past. Graphic t-shirts that have been so soiled it's hard to even read or see what they once were. Combat boots that are wrapped in layer after layer of duct tape and animal hide. Broken sunglasses that are shaped like hearts. She's the leader, she's the oldest of all of you. That's how these packs usually work. Whoever's oldest, whoever's been around the longest, that's the person in charge. They're the person that the others defer to. Now, that doesn't mean that the others don't have say, but when it comes down to it, only one can lead in these groups. And it's Styx that seems to have taken the greatest liking to you. Your skills, your abilities. The others in your group, there are perhaps about 15, but a few of them, a large imposing kid, they are about 7 feet tall and about as wide as any door that you've ever seen. Their name is Two Buck Chuck. They have a square jawline, but despite these imposing features, they have taken a liking to the pink lip gloss that's made by some in your group from beeswax and floral extracts. They're not very good at applying it, though, and it always makes them look a little bit like a circus clown with a smear of this pink lip gloss across their face. There's Lady J, very skilled at cultivating reefer. Everywhere that you and the others go, there are small plots that have been planted by Lady J. She has a Walkman, coveted by those amongst you. You trade for batteries amongst the echoes when possible, the little homemade type that you've found from time to time in certain areas. Some of the Rag and Bone carry them. But every once in a while, all of you listen. She has a beautiful voice, and she sings often about faraway places. There's Rocco, who's smaller than the others, wears oversized clothing, and a baseball hat with a skull and crossbone on it. They usually don't wear a shirt, and their pants are held up with makeshift suspenders made from ropes. That's the core of the group. Others are around you at all times. Some come, some go. They ebb and flow as you find other groups of wildlings. Sometimes groups mesh and then break apart, different than when they first met. This is the group that you're with now, as you're traveling. And you and Styx are on top of a shattered building. You and the others have taken a raft through the river, a river that you've heard some call the Allegheny. And you're hunting. You have a bow and an arrow knocked, waiting as the two of you sit on top of this shattered building. The others are spread out. Here, below you, is a veritable forest that has burst forth from the concrete. There are buildings that have fallen into ruin and metal structures everywhere. Most of your people can't read, but you can, can't you, Flywheel? An old rusted sign says Pittsburgh Zoo and Aquarium. Here, the gazelle and zebra run wild, able to avoid the dead. They've managed to make a life for themselves here. And even though it's dangerous to get into this part of the city, it's fairly well secluded. Something about the walls and the shattered remains sort of blocks it off from the tidal waves of the dead. Now it's a sanctuary. Wildlife is abundant here. And you and Styx are waiting for your prey.
I just keep my eyes trained. I have the arrow notched into the string, just waiting for the perfect moment. Silent.
Styx often remains silent for days on end. You and the others often use hand signals and don't say a word. But today is different. Styx has been watching you as you look out over this wilderness. It's cold. The green, the colors of the leaves are changing. The first snow happened not long ago. You know that autumn is ended. Soon it will be winter. And you're here, so very far away from that place outside of Sullivan Town.
Got something to say?
I sure do. Deaf do.
Well,
We aren't going back. You know that now, right?
would have been nice to hear that 3 months ago.
Easy answers. You would have gone. This is your family. We are your family.
I'm with you. You don't know who the fuck my family is, Styx.
Sure do. We are your family. Not them. Not those that hide behind walls. Those that will run away and leave you. That's not family. Family is blood. We are blood. We share fire and food. And we hunt together. We are family.
I tackle Styx.
I would like for you to make a brawl check.
Mm-hmm. Something I'm terrible at, but this is not a logical decision. That's a 67 over a 23, so that's 4 degrees of failure.
Yes, it is. That's not a catastrophic failure, but it is a horrible failure. And I'd like for you to roll a single blue die for me as you leap across the small distance between you and Styx.
Jesus, that's a 6.
It exploded, so
10.
you are going last without a doubt because Styx has rolled a 2 and has
Jesus.
3 degrees of success on their brawl. So with those degrees of difference between those two rolls, I can more or less narrate whatever I choose.
Sure.
But I'd like your input here. You were awfully close to the edge of this building. What do you think happens?
I think that as I go to tackle Styx, she just deftly steps out of the way. I think she's been planning this conversation, so she knew technically how it could have gone. And as she steps out of the way, in a classic feral child move, leaves her foot out. And I lose my balance.
So I think Styx does all of that, and you immediately tumble forward over the edge of the building. Now, I'd like for you to make a single balance check to see if you can catch yourself before you fall.
2 degrees of failure.
Roll a single blue die.
2. Of course.
You slip and you grab at the ledge, and you twist your arm, and it hurts. And you start to fall further, and at the last moment, Styx grabs you by the collar, and you're hanging off the edge of the ledge as her weight is the only thing, as she leans back heavily, the only thing that's keeping you from falling 3 stories. We're family. Say it.
We're family.
Good. And you feel yourself being pulled back to the roof. Your knees are scraped and your arm is cut as you're pulled harshly over the ragged edge of this building. She looks down at you. I'm glad we spoke. Flywheel.
Yeah. Real fucking glad.
Go find Tubak. See if they've managed any better luck here. Lots. Game is still yet to be found, and we must go for long.
And I had to find Tubok Chuck.
I'd like for you to make a stealth roll.
Sure.
As you travel through the ruins, you and the others have learned to move unseen, but given your recent confrontation, I'm not going to just assume that you're going to succeed here.
Well,
You're shaken.
I did well on this one at least. My stealth is 45. I rolled a 19, so that's 2 or 3 degrees. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely fine. You have two choices.
Mm-hmm.
You can take your additional successes, and I'll allow you to bank them onto a future roll as degrees of success. Or you can succeed miraculously with this move. As you're carefully moving through, you'll have no complications, and you'll have the drop on whoever you arrive to first. It may not be who you're looking for.
Right. I like to play this game knocks on a fuck it we die mentality, so I'm gonna take my successes now while I have them.
All right. You move carefully through the ruins. It's early morning. It's not full daylight yet. There's mist everywhere. There's that cold wind. Frost is across the ground and the greenery. That which is still green, much of it has already gone brown and orange and yellow, like fire. And as you move through the ruins towards the remnants of the zoo, you see Tubok. Their large form doesn't notice you coming. They have the bow and the arrow on the ground, and they're drinking water, gulping loudly, paying no attention to anything around them. They don't seem to be very interested in hunting.
Yeah, of course.
What do you do?
Oh. There is a big temptation here to get some revenge for what just happened to me, but it is wintertime and it is cold. So I'll get it in a more fun way, and I sneak up and after a moment, while they're not paying attention, just lightly reach out my foot and kick the back of their back. Not heavy, not anything to cause any harm, just aiming to scare.
There is a high-pitched, loud scream
Oh my god.
as Tubok Chuck leaps about 3 feet into the air, turns around, hands in the air, wide, wild expression of fear across their pale face, and then relief. Oh, you shouldn't sneak up like that. I screamed. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that scream means that we should leave this area as quickly as possible, which, not like you were doing anything important here anyway.
I'm no good at this. I'm no good. Slowly picks up the bow and arrow, the quiver, and walks alongside you. They're slow. Typically, they're left behind for rear guard because of this. They can hide when they need to, but they're not quick about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so the two of you start to move away from the area, and there's a rustle in the overgrowth not far away from you.
Reach and stop them.
They stop.
Hear that?
No. What do you hear?
I take my bow from my back and ready it again.
They drop into hand signals, hand speak, and they communicate with you. What do you see?
Nothing yet. And then I make the signal for bushes.
They lumber over into area of bushes and trees and duck behind them. I'd like for you to tell me what your intention is in this moment, because something is about to burst out of this overgrowth.
Mm-hmm. The thing is, I just had a fight with Styx, and I'm concerned that this is her fucking with me. But it could also be a creature. So I am going to, before it bursts out, actually, to the right of where this sound is coming from, I want to fire an arrow in and then notch one quickly to try to scare out whatever's in there, if it's an animal.
All right, go ahead and roll 2 blue die.
Okay.
Go ahead and make your archery roll.
Great.
And tell me how you do.
Yeah, let's see. So that was a 9 for the blue dice. And archery, I have a training value bonus. I add that to damage, correct?
Right, so
Okay.
for now, just make your roll. Everything
All
else
right,
is on your sheet.
that's 2 degrees of failure.
Okay, so it doesn't matter because you weren't trying to hit anything. You were trying to startle whatever was in there. And that certainly works. As your arrow flies off, it hits the overgrowth, and the dead foliage sort of rustles as immediately a small furry creature leaps out with a long tail. As a small capuchin monkey bursts out.
The fuck?
It's holding on to something, and it's running right towards you.
I step back a few paces. I don't know if I've ever seen, besides like from a distance, one of these like in real life.
When the capuchin monkey acts, it leaps directly onto your face, grabbing with its little hands and feet around your neck and head as if it were hugging onto you, and you completely lose sight of anything else around you.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And I try to like pull.
Well, I'll kill it!
What? It's on my face! Don't fucking kill it!
Oh, sorry. What do you want me to do?
Pull!
It doesn't seem to be hurting you. It just seems to be grabbing onto you and not wanting to let go as it continues to scream wildly.
Okay. Fuck, shoot. What's past the bushes?
You don't hear anything else for a moment. You feel a large hand on your shoulder as you're pulled back behind the tree that Tubuck was behind. And then, as you pull this small furry creature off of you, it calms for a moment and looks back over towards the area it came from. The leaves burst forth as a large, massive gorilla bursts out. The problem is, though, Flywheel, you can see its rib cage, and it's dragging its intestines behind it. Its eyes are glazed over and milky white. 2 times the size of Tubuck. This massive beast charges both of you.
Oh my god, is this tree climbable?
You can certainly try. Is that your intention in this moment?
Yeah.
I'd like for you to go ahead and make your climb roll.
Okay.
You don't have time to use any equipment or anything like that.
No.
You're just grabbing on and pulling yourself forward.
I know I'm smaller in a really sick way. I know that I can get up before. Zeros on everything is 100, isn't it?
You rolled 100.
Don't you have to have like a 1 in zeros? Isn't
No,
that
that's
just
a
like...
1.
That's not how 2 10-sided die work. Unfortunately, all zeros is in fact 100, the worst roll you could possibly make.
Yeah.
So that's immediately 5 degrees of failure. You do have competency, of course.
You have those 2 successes, right?
Hey, Nox. With this creature here, am I in a location hazard?
Oh, yes.
Well, there's one positive.
You also do have 2 degrees of success that will lower your failure by 2. So you have 3 degrees of failure to contend with.
All right. Okay.
You have additional competency, of course, but that competency is all you're going to have for the rest of the session.
Yeah, you're sure right about that. So I have 3 degrees of failure. Let's use 1 competency point and just take it to 2, just so that it's... Maybe I'll fall, maybe I'll get hurt, but I'll probably not get mauled.
Probably is a strong word.
Yeah. I can't use survival points now, can I?
How many survival points do you have?
I have 110.
That's impressive.
Thank you.
But as long as you have competency points, there's no way I'm going to allow you to use them to try to slip away from this situation.
I will use 2 competencies, so it's 1 degree of failure.
You do manage to get up the tree. However, because of your 1 degree of failure, your twisted arm from earlier is aggravated. It hurts. You've twisted it even further in your mad dash to pull yourself up. And in addition to that, you're not able to look back. But maybe that's for the best. Because all you hear is that high-pitched scream from Tubok Chuck as the gorilla charges into them and pulls their arms out of their sockets, throwing their body across this shattered concrete and ripping their throat out with one massive, horrid bite. You don't see that, but you certainly hear it.
I hold on to this tree for all it is worth, and I just wait. The large beast lumbers about, dragging its intestines and half of Tubok with them. Blood dripping across its open, shattered mouth. Black bile pouring from those dead vacant eyes. It is smelling the air. What do you do? Can I get a spot in this tree where I can get a vantage, like to sit?
You're trying to secure your place in the tree so you're more
I want to
stable?
try to send a shot into its head.
I
But
see.
I can't do that if I'm not.
You can't do that either way. Your arm isn't going to allow you to pull that bow. You're able to do anything else, perhaps, but certainly not work a bow from a tree in this situation. You might have if everything else that's occurred recently hadn't happened, but not now.
Bad day. What else do I have on me?
You have an array of weapons, daggers, perhaps a small machete-like tool. I know you have a pouch with some of your mother's tools on them. You have a capuchin monkey hiding behind you.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Let's do something stupid. And I take out one of the heavier of these tools and just try to, with my good arm, toss it in a direction so that the searching by smell is overpowered by, like, I hear a sound and gets distracted away.
You're holding on to a 2-inch socket wrench. Do you throw it?
Yeah.
You throw it as far as you can with your good arm, and it clatters across the shattered stone of what was once a parking lot. The noise immediately catches the creature's attention as it whips its head over. And it charges that area, pounding the ground wildly with an intense fury that is beyond reason. And then it stops, once again smelling the air. You feel the small monkey on your back, quiet now. It starts moving around you.
I look down at it.
It looks to you, and then it seems to see something off in the distance. It's looking into the morning light further down this open field. And you barely see them. You see others of your pack maneuvering carefully amongst the ruins of this parking lot, the rusted vehicles, weapons drawn. But they're far away.
Mm-hmm.
You see that they have their bows and their arrows, and they're taking aim.
Okay. I do not know if you can understand me. You see those? Go tell them. And I, like, push this tiny little monkey off in the direction of my party.
The monkey claws onto your arms, desperate to not let go and be released. However, eventually it lets go and starts charging across the parking lot away from you. And as it does, this enormous gorilla chases after it. The monkey's far too fast, even though this gorilla is terrifying in its speed, even in its current rotten state. And it charges forward, and arrows start to fly. And the enormous beast hits the ground with 5 arrows driven deep into its skull like a pincushion. It hits the ground and skids, dead, from the mass of the pack around you.
Carefully make my way back down the tree.
As you nearly fall, you manage to make your way down. Your arm hurt horribly. You're not able to lift it over your shoulder. But you see Styx walking towards you, looks down at the dead creature, and then back to you. Family. Many years later, you reunited with your sister. You traveled with the Rag and Bone, and you have found yourself in Rivertown. Here, this mercantile town has managed some semblance of survival in a way that few other towns are able to. They've harnessed the power of the river They've built their structures on the river itself. And here, you and the Rag and Bone group that you've been traveling with, you found solace after discovering a very strange young woman who seems to have been able to survive multiple bites from her arrows, scars, in the wreckage of a helicopter, an armored individual that was unknown to you or your group, something far more alien than the dead that swarm around you daily. Many strange things have happened. You and your group sought to keep these things secret, but unfortunately, due to an altercation with a man named Nathan, who had a particular plan to poison everybody within Rivertown, the docks. That altercation led you all to a trial with the leader of this community, a man known as Lincoln. While the majority of your group were sentenced to a continuous amount of labor within the camp to make up for the wrongdoings that had occurred within their walls, you were told that it was a light sentence. And you and your sister Lenormand, specifically, were going to be set free after a single night of observation. However, the captivity that they promised you turned out to be something a little more extreme. Grave-like holes that had been dug into the ground are where you find yourselves now. Over the top of these holes, metal cages, fencing, most of it pinioned into the earth itself. Another captive, a person known as Dr. Sweets, was with you, tried to escape, only to discover that you're not alone here, and someone else is able to get out of their cell. You have no idea what's happening, but you heard the shouting. Dr. Sweets had cried out, and then all was silent, except for that very faint whispering off in the distance. The flickering torchlight of your cells slowly dims as you realize it's getting darker and darker. You're all together. The only way that you can communicate is through a series of holes, piping that's far too small for any of you to easily climb through, though some of you could if the piping were open from the grates that hold it closed. You're able to communicate through these holes, and you're all together, underground, about 6 feet. What would you like to do?
It's good to be hidden under the bed right now, that's all I'll say.
Did someone get Sweets? What the fuck happened?
I don't know, but something caused that.
Whomever or whatever is doing the whispering definitely did something to Dr. Sweets. One does not scream in such a way and live to tell the tale.
Wow.
I mean, I don't mean to sound like a piece of shit, but I feel like the rest of us should just stay down here for the rest of the night. We were secure, I think, and nothing get in here.
When one really thinks about it, the grates are more to secure us within so much than it is to secure someone from getting within. They're actually quite easy to open from the outside.
Right.
Yes. I mean, what jail cell would it be, or hellhole, if they did not do such a thing?
I don't like this.
Do you think they knew about the thing that's out there? That noise?
Dr. Sweets has been here for a week and has survived that entire time.
Right.
I find it hard to believe that this, whatever it is, was in here with Dr. Sweets in that entire time.
Didn't you say she heard whispers?
She's been hearing whispers.
Okay, so rationally thinking, if she's been down here with noises almost this whole time, maybe not that, I'll say half the time, we don't know, and she went up, and immediately as she went up, got something by something, then we should probably stay in here. The odds of that being safe are pretty good.
Right, some weapons would be helpful.
But maybe not sleep, yeah.
So you are saying it is fed, so we are safe.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
That is what I heard.
Yeah, whatever hungry hippos out there. Satisfied for now.
If this was around, like you said, and she was safe down here without having to do anything,
Right.
it's when she went up there that whatever happened. And I'm going back to the grate that's in between our enclosures, and I'm gonna kind of give it a light shake. I want to assess again how weak I think it is.
You and the others have already examined these grates that interlock all of the cells together. They're all in a row, and these grates are very secure, but you're very strong, Sennet. You think that you would be able to pull one of them free without too much difficulty. It might make some noise, but if you did so, you think that the others might be able to pass through. You're too large to make your way through this passage.
And I can't open the ones that are not within my reach, but the one that is this one. So
That's right.
I'm gonna tear it off. I want to.
Okay. All right. Well, hold on. If you do that, it's not like I can tear off these other ones. They're only.
I want to break this apart and make it a weapon.
Okay.
Go ahead and make a lift pull for me, please, Sennet. And Sennet, while you're doing that, Lenormand, Flywheel, what are the two of you doing in your cells?
I have not moved, I will say. What are you doing?
I'm sitting on my bed. I am quite content. I feel that I'm not in any real danger right now. Whatever has happened, and if it does come for us, well, then that would be something different.
I do have one question, actually. They took my weapons off of me. Did they take my tools?
Yes.
Bitches.
They took your tools and anything else that could have been used as a tool. Now, Lenormand, they didn't search you as closely as they did the others.
I am quite armed, but they still have my cattle prod.
They do have your cattle prod. That's correct. So, how did you do on your lift pull?
I got 1 degree of success.
1 degree of success.
Mm-hmm.
That's not enough. Would you like to spend some competency? Or you can spend further time loosening this grate up. Over a number of hours, you might be able to free it. With 1 degree of success, I'll allow you to begin that process.
I will take that, because I'm not planning on sleeping anytime soon.
So you're working as you pull on these grates, trying to free them from the earth around you. Go ahead and make a search check for me, please. Doctor, I'd like for you to also make a search check.
Okay. It's 2 degrees of failure.
And 3 degrees of failure for me.
Well, are you content with that?
No, but I'm just going to stick to... I don't sense... There's urgency, but I'm not alarmed yet, because I think good points were made that we understand that if something wasn't able to reach Dr. Sweets while she was down here, and it wasn't until she surfaced that she was in danger and attacked, then the same should be true for us for now. So I'm patiently and quietly whittling away at this.
So be it. Both of you
There
are...
is another possibility. Did I ever tell you that I've read many manuals about helicopters? I have yet to actually be in one.
It's a damn shame.
I know, it is very much a shame. I'm looking forward to it, even if it is a wrecked one. The place that I was at before had one, but I know that you do not like for me to talk about that place much. Oh, because Dr. Sweets used water to loosen the packed earth. Perhaps that could work on the packed earth around the grate.
That is a very good point. I will apply that tactic.
All right. It does, in fact, help you greatly. I'm not going to make you make any further rolls, but if you want to spend the time doing it, within 2 hours, you're able to pull this grate free.
I do want to pull the grate free, and eventually, when we get to that point, I'm going to try to break it in a way where I can use some of it as a weapon.
The first step is to free the grate.
Right.
That's going to take you 2 hours.
Yes.
We can deal with everything that comes afterwards.
A lot
if
can
you like.
happen in 2 hours.
So you pull the grate off. Now there's only a secondary grate through the hole that's separating you from the doctor.
So, should I try to tear my stupid grate off too? I don't think I can do it.
How can I prop myself in? Can I reach it with my leg so I can give it a bit of a push?
You could.
I'll help you then.
The two of you are going to work together then to do this.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Both of you can make lift pulls. Your results will be combined together.
I don't want to do that.
Remi,
I do
make
something
the roll
else?
first, please.
No. I have a 17 lip pool.
Oh,
Just throwing it
boy.
out there. All right, whatever. Incredible. That's a 98 over a 17.
Hey, it's not 100.
Oh, these guys.
So close.
5 degrees of failure.
Yeah.
Let's see how you do, Sennet.
Why are we rolling?
Why do I feel like Nox kissed these dice
Yeah, give it a
before?
kiss.
No, we
of
don't
death.
say what's
Neither
wrong.
confirm nor deny anything.
Jeez, 1 success.
Amazing.
1 success.
Yeah.
So you have 4 degrees of failure between the two of you. And I don't think you make any progress whatsoever.
No.
And if you continue with 4 degrees of failure, something bad is going to happen. You'll have to lessen it by 1. Or,
I'll use one of my competency this time.
all right.
So
So-
the order.
In that case, nothing untoward happens. It just is a complete and utter failure. You continue to struggle, and it is going to be very difficult, Sennet, for you to get enough leverage
Yeah.
to be able to really help here.
It's
We'll figure
honestly, it's
something out.
fine. Senna, just you have your little Sharpie sharps. I have my brain. It's fine.
All right.
You two over there, do you have anything to defend yourselves with?
That's a good question. You're kitted, right, Lenormand?
Yes. I do have my weapons, just not my favorite one.
Got anything fun for me you can pass through that hole?
Oh, absolutely. What is it that you would enjoy? Do you want to have something to stab someone with, or would you perhaps like some sort of chemical to throw into one's eyes?
That one.
Oh, that is wonderful. That's one of my favorites. Is there enough room through the grate to pass a small hand? It's like this big. You just take the top off, and it's like a little jar.
It's a glass jar.
Yeah, it's a glass jar, so you can throw it to
There's about
with a very
3 feet
abrasive
of
liquid.
dirt between you and your sister. You can certainly reach your hand through, and this jar. However, it's pretty tight, and then you could try to hand it off to your sister. Before you do, though, I'd like for you both to make balance checks.
Balance?
Oh, please don't drop this thing in this confined space.
I'm gonna get my hand burned off.
Got it. You're okay. You're okay. Don't roll 100.
I rolled a 31. My balance is 23.
Right? That's 1
Uh,
degree of failure.
I'll use a point to make that
A wash.
Yeah.
Okay, great. How did you do, Lenormand?
I rolled a 95.
Oh shit.
So you could either spend competency.
I
You-
wouldn't be able to. Mine is 35, so it's
You could lessen it. But if you like, we can just break this vial.
If I lessen it by 1, can I break it in the tunnel and not on us?
Yes. I'm glad you knew where I was going with that.
Thank you. I like my hand.
So you'll take 1 competency to make this less than a catastrophic failure, and it breaks. Your fingers, you're just passing it off, and then there's a fumble between the two of you, and it shatters at the bottom.
Oh,
Neither of you are harmed, but the vial is ruined.
I believe being within the confines of this hole has gotten to me because my hands are very sweaty, and I only just realized this moment.
Listen, performance anxiety gets to all of us.
Hey, are you two okay?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Something broke.
I have burned a hole within the drainage hole that was between
You burned
the
the
two
grate?
of us.
You.
Oh yes, I had a caustic chemical that works on many things. I prefer to use it on human faces.
So you use it on the grate, and is there any more? Can we use that on the grates that we have?
Everybody can make a spot listen check.
Ah,
I'm rolling
Of
the
course,
same
of
thing every time.
course, of course. 4 degrees of success.
Oh wow,
Oh, okay.
that's good.
3 degrees of failure.
3 failure.
2 degrees of success.
Remi, Sennet, we're not going to worry about you. You're oblivious. You're all talking.
We're doing great.
However, the two of you are more attuned to your surroundings. It's a survival instinct that the two of you have sort of learned in the wilds. And so your ears immediately dial into the sound of chain outside of a door not far from your confines. You hear a jostling and then the creaking of the door as it opens. Booted feet headed towards you.
Oh,
What do all of you do?
All right, look obedient, everyone.
booted. Okay, so
you don't know this.
Oh yeah, you're right. Shit.
That's why I said look obedient. You're normal.
It appears we are about to have company. Hopefully you did not make a very big mess of your hole.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna prop this up against there.
You hear Zeke.
Mm.
Fuck! And immediately there's a lot of commotion above you. You see the shadows of people through the firelight from the lanterns as a number of the guard from Rivertown make their way towards the cells away from you.
Oh,
The one where Dr. Sweet was.
I think they found the other doctor.
right.
There's metal on metal as something is pulled away. You hear muffled voices. They're trying not to be loud. But the two of you rolled very well on your spot listen. So I'll allow the two of you to hear what's said. How did, again? We're going to hear about this. Where were you? Were you watching? I was on duty. Listen, just go get Jaden. Fine.
Soldiers,
I'll deal.
status report.
You hear boots walking across metal, and a figure walks directly over your cell, standing on the grating above you. It's Zeke, holding a gun. Looks down at you.
How's it going?
Is there something that you would like to share with us? And by like, I mean there is something that you should share with us.
You know, yeah, maybe there is something I should share with you. All of you are like a sickness. My father may not see it, may give you leniency, and Jaden may like you two just fine. But I see you for what you are. You're here to tear us apart, to take what we have, and to ruin what we've all worked so hard for. Now, which one of you assholes brought a knife in here?
What?
Who had a knife?
You can hear this at this point?
Oh, everybody
Yeah,
can
okay.
hear this.
They took all of our weapons. We don't
yeah.
have anything.
Not a single one of us had a knife in the past tense at all. In the past tense.
Good catch.
Thank you.
I'm not going to unpack that right now. But I need you to all shut the fuck up until we're done. And when we are, you'll be left here just like you were before.
Not feeling super safe here, Zeke.
What do I fucking care about your safety? You should do me a goddamn favor and just die.
Zeke, you do not make any sense. Each of us have been very supportive for this community, doing things that you have no skill set for, and we do. And yet you call us a sickness, yet you call us weak. And
What's-
yet the only thing that you seem to be able to do is wave a gun and threaten. And I assume kill.
My job is security. I've seen your type before. I know what the rag and bone bring. Trouble. And since all of you got here, it's been nothing but trouble. And you can try to pawn it off on Nathan, and yeah, that guy was an asshole too. I didn't trust him any further than I could throw him. But still, here we are.
Seems like you've got plenty of your own little stabby stab trouble.
Yeah, this whole thing with the knives, that happened before we were here, I'm pretty sure. Also, we want to leave? Like, we don't want to stay here anymore.
We're happy
and
to go.
Just let us go.
If I had anything to say about it, you would leave.
Well, if you would like to talk to Lincoln to have us leave, then I believe all of us could have an accord.
Fuck your accord. And Zeke walks off over to the other cells, and there's another couple of guards. You hear whispering, there's movement, you hear a creaking noise, and you see a shadow of two people carrying a stretcher. And eventually, a covered body is pulled out on that stretcher as they walk past your cells. You just barely see them.
Bummer.
Well, something did that. They haven't caught whatever that is.
It is a shame. Dr. Sweets would have made a very good scout for that helicopter.
Guess so, but whatever.
I mean, didn't make it more than 5 feet, would she have?
Hey, whatever got her.
That is true. Maybe did not have many survival skills. I wonder how she survived for so long.
Well, I'm sure she had something everybody wanted. But it looks like there's something in this town that's attacking people at night with something with the knives.
Well, maybe whatever was in here that got hurt is going to follow them out.
I do not believe it is a Romero, because
They don't use knives.
Yeah.
why would they ever need to?
I also caught a little bit of what they were saying, and this does seem to be an issue that is recurring.
Oh, great. So they knew about it and then put us in these fucking holes.
Yeah, well, because the only person that's been fucking up is Zeke. And he's trying to use us as some sort of a scapegoat. He's the one that fucked up with Nathan. Didn't see that coming. I don't know how. Letting him go and scout on his own. And if he's security, that's the biggest failure that's happening in this town. Security. So
Yes, it is nepotism at its worst. He should not be in a position of authority at all.
well, he's looking to find a scapegoat, and it's us. So
Yeah.
I'm not planning on pissing him off any more than than has already happened.
All right. Well, he definitely wants us dead.
Should we kill him?
Well,
Maybe, but not yet.
There are many ways to make it look like an accident. Many.
Hey, you two.
Perhaps if we go on patrol with
We
him.
talked about this before. Only if it's absolutely necessary. I know you have your logic, but we're okay for now.
But when you drug them, they become awake again after a while when you kill them, you get rid of a problem. We have had this discussion before,
you're not
Doctor.
wrong. Right? Yep, we sure have lots of times. So
Sometimes, sometimes she makes sense.
Sometimes you cannot talk with everyone. Sometimes they do not follow the rules.
Yeah, you can't
they
talk
do not
with
make sense.
okay, all right. I'm clearly outvoted here, but
We just have to be able to get away with it.
Or
we
just get away.
we need to leave. I know we're supposed to be stuck here for what, 6 more months, whatever it was.
6 months.
That's no.
I'm working on it.
We're
I'm
not going to survive. Someone just died in the cell next to us. We're not going to survive here for 6 more months.
while we're having this very healthy discussion, I'm trying to take the grate that I have and take advantage of the confusion upstairs. I feel like they're
It's dark in your cells.
yeah.
You are able to obscure most of this as long as you're careful. There is enough commotion upstairs.
Great.
It's hard to see what they're saying. They're being quiet. They obviously don't want you to know what's happening. So with all that, you're able to get away with what you're trying to do. Tell me how you're trying to turn this into a weapon, though.
So the grate, is it like a metal circle, or is it so it's a metal circle with
Much
bars?
smaller, yes.
Right.
It's about the size of a basketball.
Got it. Okay, so about this big, but there's bars.
Mhm.
I'm just trying to break off one of the bars to have like a kind of weapon, or like,
Make a lift pull.
okay. Come on, baby. I have such a good lift pull score, and I'm rolling the same thing every time.
Uh-huh.
1 degree of success.
Maybe if we all just switched dice, maybe that would work.
Maybe,
Yeah.
but
Oh,
you
Louis
do
said-
manage to pull a bar off, but it makes a lot of noise.
Got it.
Do you wish to alter that at all? If you do, it would lessen the amount of noise that you're making, and it's up to a roll that I will then make as to if anybody notices what you're doing.
I'm going to let this ride. I
All
think
right.
my competency is
Great.
Be needed
Spot listen
elsewhere.
check. Nothing happens.
Oh,
You pry a bar out. Everyone else hears this kind of rending metal sound that's a little too loud to anyone's liking.
Just wait till they leave.
all right.
Eventually, they do all leave, and you're left in the dark again. As Zeke leaves, he snuffs out all of the lanterns, leaving you in pitch darkness.
Oh, fucking cute, Zeke.
Everything is dark.
I press the heels of my palms against my eyes to like pitch black my eyes. When I open them again, I have at least a little bit of vision.
You can't see anything.
Fuck.
It's that dark.
Sometimes it works.
It's very, very dark.
And we just need to trust our ears. Stay quiet.
Meg Ryan is next to you.
I do have a creature. You're gonna watch out, right, girl?
Starts to kind of leap off your shoulder and sort of parkours up the side and gets to the grates and kind of hangs on the grates as she walks around, pulling herself upside down on the grates, trying to reach out.
Hey, careful. There's something scary out there. Yeah. Yeah, keep your hands to yourself. All right.
Do any of you do anything at all for the next hour?
I still have my pen light on me. I don't turn it on or keep it on for any reason to save the battery, but I just sort of have it in my hands in case I hear something near me.
Yeah, it still functions. You're able to create some light should you need it. Doesn't help everybody else, but it certainly helps you. What about the rest of you?
I am going to take this kind of weapon that I have, and I'm going to wet the bottom of the tunnel and try to like widen it a little bit by scooping out some of the mud.
Roll me a depletion die.
A 2.
All right. You use the last of your water to do this. You have no additional water to work with.
Okay. Has it made any impact on the tunnel?
It's widened it.
Okay. It's good enough for me. I'm holding in one hand my new weapon, and then the rest of the grate, I'm using one of the remaining bars as something that I can hold on to that maybe I can use in some way, shape, or form if I need to.
All right.
Lenormand has been drinking the water from her pitcher. I am quite thirsty, and it's good to stay hydrated. Always hydrate. That, eat, take naps. And after the ceramic jug is empty, are there sheets on the cot?
Yes.
I then use the sheets on the cot and the edge of the cot to carefully smash up the ceramic and then I scatter that around the bottom of my hole. So even though I cannot see, if something tries to creep up on me, I will hear the crack of the ceramic.
Dr. Remi, are you doing anything else? You have your pin light. You're waiting.
Yeah.
You hear
all sorts
things
of
happening
fun
from
stuff.
all around you. Yeah, there's the breaking of a jug. There's the rending of metal and digging of earth.
Probably hear a scattering of ceramic.
Yeah, I take the sheet on the bed and I rip it into a long rope-like strip. So I essentially just have a rope situation in case I need to do close combat with someone down here. And I sort of stand just in the corner against the wall so that I'm not in the middle of the room anymore. But I keep my head near the grate, the grate with the hole closest to Sennet.
All right, Remi. What about you, Flywheel?
How's this bed put together?
It's welded.
Welded.
And then with long, what you assume to be stakes, it's driven into the ground so that you can't move it.
Springs?
No. It's a flat piece of metal.
What a shame.
So comfy.
A very
So
thin
comfy.
mattress and a single sheet.
All right, fantastic.
No pillow.
That's so mean. I take the sheet and my jug's already broken. So I take the pieces and I put them in the sheet and tie the sheet up to make a sort of, you know?
Okay, so you make a makeshift club.
Yeah,
out of
mace,
your sheet.
maul.
Maul, sure. As all of you are doing these things, time passes. It's very quiet and it's dark. You don't hear the whispering anymore. In fact, it's so quiet after a while that you can hear each other breathing. Every once in a while, the squeaks of Meg Ryan are heard and the rattle of the metal as she continues to kind of climb around in your cage. I'd like for all of you to make an endurance check. Okay. Yes.
Oh God, I'm so bad at endurance.
Finally.
3 degrees of failure.
1 degree of success.
5 degrees of failure, I assume.
That's
Yeah.
what those are.
Amazing.
And Sennet, you seem happy.
4 successes.
He's back.
My first one of this.
As time
entire
passes, all of you, having gone through a very, very long ordeal, find yourselves very tired. You're fighting to stay awake. With 5 degrees of failure, I'm sorry, Flywheel. If you don't do anything about this, you are going to fall asleep.
I think I'm out. I will, if possible, call Meg Ryan back down before that because I don't want anything to happen to her.
I'll allow that.
Yeah.
You managed to bring Meg Ryan down, calm her down enough that the two of you fall asleep together on, under, wherever the cot might be, wherever you choose to.
Always under, baby.
Yeah,
I
you're-
don't need a mattress.
You're hidden under the cot and you're trying to remain vigilant and you don't know when, but you fall asleep. Lenormand, how did you roll 3 degrees of...
I got 1 degree of success.
I see. So you're able to stay awake, but it is a fight. You're fighting to kind of keep yourself from dozing off as the hours pass. It's very dark, it's quiet, and the day has been very long for all of you. In fact, you've all now probably been awake for over 24 hours. It's exhausting. Do you continue to fight?
The body yearns for sleep. But if I keep fighting it, then I will go into a deeper sleep than I would want to. If I let it have what it wants, at least it could be a lighter sleep.
So you are going to allow yourself to sleep.
I will sleep under the bed near the ceramic where I can hear it crackle.
So be it. And you're not deeply asleep, so I will give you a benefit should anything happen that requires you to pay attention. Dr. Remi, you have 3 degrees of failure, is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Would you like to resolve those as 3 degrees of failure?
Boy. I believe I will. I don't have too many competency left.
You eventually fall asleep, though it's not particularly a heavy sleep. You don't know when. You're leaning up against the wall, trying to stay awake with your pen light in your hand. And then everything is dark, and you fall into slumber. Sennet, however, you have 4 degrees of success.
I do.
You're wide awake.
Question. I love that I got 4 degrees of success, but I don't want that to bite me in the ass later. Is it possible to rest?
Absolutely. It's
Okay.
a choice.
I mean, I'd like to, like, if possible, take like a 15-minute, 20-minute nap and allow that to give me at least some rest.
Okay, so given that you have 4 degrees of success, I'm going to allow it. You take as many little cat naps throughout the next couple of hours as you choose to allow yourself to remain somewhat fresh and push past and remain aware. You have little doubt that everybody else is asleep.
Right.
And it's very, very quiet. During one of these periods where you're between naps, though, Sennet, you do hear something. Footfall. Above you. In the dirt. And then a flashlight. The light strikes down across you. And then it moves past you. The boots continue on. The light stops in the cell next to you and lands on Dr. Remi and stays there. You hear metal, keys. The grate is unlocked and opened. What do?
Hey, who's out there? Zeke?
There's no response.
And I'm going to say louder, Zeke, my intention is to try to get a response from them, but to also get loud enough to wake up my companions. Zeke, hey!
If you had 3 degrees of success, you're awakened by this shouting. And as you wake up, Doctor, you see Jaden standing over you with a flashlight. In the cell with you. There's a rope.
Hey, what the fuck?
He looks to you. Shh. Don't say anything. I need you to come with me.
Why?
I found someone. I need you to... They're dying. I need you to keep them alive before my father and everyone else gets back.
I need everyone with me. I'm not going by myself.
Look, they're safe here.
They're not.
I know what happened. We have 3 guards on it now. Nothing else like this. Look, I'll explain it later. This has happened before. We have it under control, okay? They're just sick. They don't understand.
Fine. I quickly run over to the grate. Hey, I'm going with Jaden.
What do you mean you're going with Jaden?
I don't know. He's taking me out of here. I'll try to get the rest of you out. And I go back to... Jaden?
He needs to give you a weapon.
Jaden? I'm just letting Sennet know where I'm going. Because he's awake, clearly.
Fine, just... They need to be quiet. Don't...
Oh.
You hear Jaden's voice, again whispering through thing. I promise you, the doctor is safe. You just have to be quiet and play this. Just... I'm trying to help you all, okay? Do you believe that?
Yeah.
Okay. You know... Let's go.
Okay. And
Do
I
you-
follow Jaden.
Well, you have to climb out the rope.
Oh,
so
do
yeah,
I
I'm not
now?
going to make you roll.
Okay.
You it takes a while. You make your way up, and Jaden follows after you.
All right.
And then Jaden, it's still pitch dark. You know, the flashlight, he switches it off, and then closes your grating and locks it again. and turns and walks you out of this building. Do you follow without doing anything else?
Can I see if the other grates
can't
are
see
all
anything.
locked?
It's
Oh,
dark.
that's right.
Yeah.
I take my pen light out, and I see if the locks are secured on the other three, and if not, if they are, then I try to kick loose Sennet's if I can.
Well, they're all secured, and you could try to kick the lock, but you know a little better than to think that it's just going to break off with
Yeah.
a tap of your foot.
I take the pen light and I drop it down in Sennet's cell,
Okay.
and I follow Jaden.
Is it on when you drop it, or do you just drop it?
I leave
Yeah.
it on so I
All
can
right.
see.
So, Sennet, you see the light drop down.
I grab it right away and then turn it off.
Lenormand, you're a little groggy, but you're awake and you heard all of this. There was whispering. It took you a minute, but you realized that it was Jaden's voice.
Do you think it could be Dr. Sweets that Dr. Remi is going after?
I have no idea. Could be anybody. Someone that matters to Jaden, apparently.
Jaden is trustworthy, as much as a person can be that's from Rivertown. I don't believe any harm will come to her on purpose.
Thank you, that's comforting. Kind of.
You have always been very protective of the doctor, and I enjoy that because it makes you a good part of the team. I am very protective with Flywheel, and we're two halves of a whole, all together.
Yeah. The four of us make a good team.
If something does happen to the doctor, I want you to still remain a good teammate for the team. I am certain nothing will, but I am just assuring you that I am just filled with assurances.
I will reassure your assurances.
That is appreciated. Thank you.
Dr. Remi, you're walked through this building and out into the night air. It's maybe 4 a.m. Just the slightest hint of light is off on the horizon. You can feel the cool air around you. It's mid-October now. You shiver, and Jaden puts a blanket around your shoulders.
Thanks. So what's going on?
You realize that he also covers your head, and this is as much to hide you as keep you warm.
Oh.
And he moves you through the walkways, past the buildings, quietly. I need you to make a stealth roll for me.
Come on. Hold on. Still. Oh my god. 3, 4, 5.
Oh,
That's
no.
like 5 degrees of failure.
You stumble and fall, unless you'd like to change that. Do you have any competency remaining?
I have 2 left.
2. Would you like to use 2 to make it less than a catastrophic failure?
Sure.
Oh, man.
You use your last 2 competency points, and you stumble forward just as Jaden catches you. I know you're tired. I know this has been hard. Just stay with me.
Okay.
The 2 of you make your way all the way back to the infirmary. It's much as you and the others had left it. The doors are closed, however. Jaden opens one of them, ushers you in, and then closes them as both of you enter and locks the door, wrapping a chain around it and a padlock.
Feels creepy, Jaden.
You've trusted me this far, all right?
Kinda.
Look, I've got history with Flywheel and Lenormand. If I wanted to hurt you or anyone else, I would have done it already. And I know, Zeke's got a hard on to make your life really horrible, but, he's just trying to cover his own ass.
Yeah. Okay.
Just everyone here is good. I know it's a little confusing. I know it seems wrong, but my family, they aren't bad people. They've been burnt a lot, all right? So they're harsh.
So they burn all those around them. I hear what you're saying.
I mean,
Listen.
you've been out there. You know what it's like.
Yeah, I do. Been around longer than you. So what do you need from me?
There are 2 people in here. On cots. One of them is Starburst, who's sleeping comfortably. Doesn't seem like anyone has harmed her in any way. It does look like they've taken care of her. Bandages have been changed. Fresh water is there. She's been cleaned up and cared for. Someone else has been doing it. It's not how you left them. In the bed next to them, however, is a man you don't recognize. He has dark hair, olive complexion. He's naked from the waist up. There's a blanket around him. He's been shot. There's blood everywhere, and someone has very roughly tried first aid. Bandages crisscross his chest, and they're soaked.
I just, very businesslike, start to go about finding a pitcher to wash my hands, telling Jaden to grab bandages and alcohol wipes. So what happened to him?
Everybody's on the search for Nathan. Well, we couldn't find Nathan. My father found the garden, though. It was the way that Sennet described it. They set it on fire.
Well, that's one good thing.
Yeah, well, that's keeping them busy. My group and I, we found something else. We went back to the helicopter, went further out, and we found him.
Was he wearing the armor?
Yes. And you see in the corner, there's a stack of armor and other equipment. It's covered in blood. There's no helmet, but there are bags. And you see on the other table, next to this bed, this cot, is the box that Lincoln showed you, the lockbox, the one that was retrieved from the helicopter. It's sitting on a bedside table on the bed opposite this man, untouched, still smeared with blood and ash. He's got answers. If you keep him alive, everything's going to be better. My father can interrogate him, and we can find out what this is all about, who these people are, where they come from. But if he dies, we lose that opportunity. Now, everyone else around here would probably act first. I know you're reasonable. We keep him alive. Can you do that?
We definitely need answers about Starburst and about all of this. So yeah, I'll keep him alive. What's in that box? Your father had it earlier.
You can't open it.
You can't open it. You don't have tools?
It's not like that.
What do you mean?
Look at it.
What does it look like?
You get closer to the box and you realize that there's a device where the lock should be. Some sort of little shiny black screen. Watch. Jaden touches it and a red light blinks. Shape of a fingerprint.
Huh. Have you thought about using this guy's finger?
Yeah. But I didn't want to be alone when I did it.
Oh.
Look, I can't be the one to do this, but you can. If my father asks, I can honestly say that I didn't do it.
So, you're not just being nice, you're saving your own ass too.
I'm saving my ass so that I can continue to save yours.
I won't lie, you've definitely been helpful and kinder than your weirdo brother. So, fine. Let's do this. And I grab the man's hand that's on the bed, and I bring his hand up to the box. Bring the box here.
He brings the box to you on the table and then steps back.
I put the man's hand on the screen.
It's just a finger.
Just the finger.
First it's red. Do you try other fingers?
Yes.
You work your way to the thumb. When the thumb touches it, it turns green, and you hear a latching noise.
Okay. I open the box.
The box is on the table right now.
Okay.
You can open it if you want. It's there in front of you.
Okay.
You can
No,
take the
I thought
box.
there was the second part coming to this, but I didn't understand.
You can choose to open the box if you like.
I open the box.
We'll be right back.
Oh.
Dr. Remi, you've made a choice.
Yeah.
You've used the thumbprint of the unconscious man whose life you're trying to save, and you've unlocked this box that was collected from the wreckage of the helicopter where you found Starburst.
Mm-hmm.
You can open the box.
Okay. What's in the box? It's like a terrible present. Please no jump scares.
Something's
Please
gonna
no
pop
jump scares.
out.
Oh. Okay.
By opening the box, you've incurred 50 risk.
Wait! It didn't say it on the box where I opened it.
Oh,
It literally
man.
has it right there on the box,
Oh,
too.
okay.
It does.
Oh.
You can remove that card.
This is some poppycock.
Be careful of gifts from Nox.
I now have 73.
God.
No.
I don't understand why I'm being punished specifically.
My gifts come with a price, but they are still gifts. Inside of the box is a number of vials. Each of the vials has a small label on it. There are numbers and other markings that you don't quite understand. There's no clear scientific understanding to what those indications are, but there is some sort of cataloging happening to the vials within that container. There are 2 blue vials, a black vial, and 1 vial that is clearly full of blood.
Okay. And the other 2?
You don't know. You don't know what the other 3 are, but I will allow you to make a medical roll.
Okay.
You can do advanced medicine.
I sure can. Is that a 9 or? That is 1 degree of failure.
You have no competency remaining.
No, I don't. Wonder why.
It's not a catastrophic failure, but you are uncertain about what the other vials contain.
Well, actually, I have an ability I've never used it for because it's never come up. This could either be a research or a bookworm ability. Basically, if I'm for bookworm, I can gain 1 competency back if I'm doing any kind of reading or studying. So I'm looking at the manuals inside the box. That could be how I can apply that. Or for research, it says that if I'm in any kind of science facility, then I would also get 1 competency point.
You have 2 competency points. Both of them are in effect here.
Awesome. So I'll use both of them now, and just
So you have 1 degree of success.
so I know what's going on. Yep.
You don't know what the 2 blue vials are. They're synthesized. They're not natural. That much is clear. Without testing, you wouldn't be able to say with any definitive understanding as to what they were.
Okay.
However, the 4th vial is black bile. It's the ichor that has been collected from a Romero.
Okay.
Jaden is looking at you. That's it?
I think it has something to do with. I mean, I don't have to keep it a secret anymore, but Starburst. We know that her blood is. Well, that she is immune. So her blood is. So if they were looking for her, keeping her captive, they were developing. Maybe this. Maybe it's not this. I don't know why he would have it on him, this soldier. But we definitely need to keep this. I need to keep this, Jaden. I am maybe one of the only people left on this planet who could look at this and understand it. And analyze it. Do you understand what I'm trying to say to you?
I do.
I take the box. I lock it back up for now. And I look on the ground for the bag that I left before all this happened, that had Dr. Pascal's journals in it, that had my medical supplies in it.
Everything is here.
I add this to my collection. Now my bag's quite heavy.
I'd like for you to make a spot lesson check.
Oh, man.
I'll roll for Jaden as well.
Okay, Jaden, please do better than me, please. It's 2 degrees of failure.
Should that be beeping?
What? Beep, beep, bing.
Your bag, the box, it's... Do you hear that?
Fuck, no.
And you hear a very, very subtle...
I take the box back out and I throw it.
You throw it, it skids across the floor, and nothing happens. There's just, where the thumbprint was, there's a little red light, and it's flashing.
Fuck, there's a tracker on this thing. I open the box.
I spend 50 risk.
Okay.
There and back again.
Been real cool being with y'all for these 4 sessions.
I'm back where I started just a few minutes ago, with 27 risk. Thank you. Doctor, we'll come back to you.
Okay.
For the rest of you in the cells, it's still completely dark. You can't see anything at all. You have a pin light. Your sister is fast asleep. The 2 of you are awake. What do you say to each other? Do you say anything, or do you go back to sleep?
I am quite awake now.
I think we should take turns resting. We're gonna need to be aware. Have our wits about us.
Well, if you wish to nap, you can. I will stay up.
Okay. Can I fit? I've carved out the tunnel some. Do I fit in it yet?
No, but you could try to open the other grate now, much more easily than you could have.
I want to try to do that. I don't like that there's a whole cell in between us in case something happens.
You and these grates, you really do not like being confined.
Well, we're supposed to be a team, and all the space in between us is not going to allow for much teamwork, in my opinion.
That is a way to think of it. You seem very determined. I shall help you with this grate. I have already drank all my water.
I think I can manage this, hopefully on my own. Hopefully. Yes! 3 degrees of success.
Nice.
The grate to Dr. Remi's cell kicks inward. With a final stomp of your boot, you manage to fling it into the other space. You hear it clatter, Lenormand. And there's now an open hole between you and the other cell. That cell then leads to your cell, Lenormand. And even though it's dark, you can hear Sennet moving in the dirt not far away.
Do you believe that you could also do that to the grate between myself and Flywheel? I would very much appreciate that.
I can try if I can get through this one. I'm going to try to squeeze through to get into Remi's cell, if that's even at all possible.
It could be possible, but you could hurt yourself.
I'm going to be very careful, and if I start to get an inkling of any pain, I'm going to stop.
Can I reach him in any way to help with pulling?
Not at all. No.
Perhaps if I use the sheet on my bed and toss it over to him?
I can't reach it.
You couldn't do that because of the grating. It wouldn't allow you to be able to thrust it far enough across the room. You might be able to push out something so that it drapes down, but you wouldn't be able to throw it in any meaningful way. If you could remove the grates, it would be possible.
I think Sennet is the muscle within this I almost used the word family. That is peculiar. Within this team. I mean, I can try. I'll do a lift pull on the grate.
Go ahead and roll.
Is this the grate between your cell and my old
And
cell?
Yeah.
Remi's,
Yeah.
Okay, and there's still the other. Okay, you still
Yeah.
Make a climb roll for me,
Okay.
please, as you try to maneuver yourself through this hole.
It's a wash.
Nothing happens. You push and
I'm like-
pull, and the grate doesn't budge.
Oh, jeez.
You don't hurt yourself, however, and you don't make any noise.
1 degree of success.
You do not fail. You do not hurt yourself. And you've managed to position yourself in a way where you have 2 options. Take your time and do this slowly, and I won't make you roll again. Or you can speed through this and make another roll.
I am going to take my time. I'm not... For 2 reasons. I've already exerted some energy. I've gotten some rest, but I am aware that I used all my water. And one of the reasons why I want to get into this cell is because she still has hers. And I want to drink some. But I'll give you some.
Are you pushing or pulling?
I'm pushing. I've pushed the
You are
grate
pushing.
through. Now I'm squeezing through the tunnel.
May I grab my sheet, wrap it around the grate, and brace myself on the wall and be pulling that way while Sennet pushes?
Well, Sennet isn't through quite yet.
I'm not
Still
onto your
you're
side yet.
trying to get
Pulling
into.
himself through this very small hole.
But you are so much bigger than the hole.
He's
I
dug it
carved
out,
some of it out.
but it isn't enough to make this easy or comfortable. And while you are not hurting yourself, it's very claustrophobic and it's hard to breathe. And you're pulling yourself forward with your arms outstretched in this tight space, and your legs are still sticking out into your cell, but your arms and your hands, you're pulling yourself through here. And as you do so, you can feel the dirt around you start to shift.
Okay. I'm going to be careful, and I'm going to move forward. I'm already in it. I'm already halfway in it. Just got to get to the other side.
Sennet, it appears that you are having an emotional difficulty. And who would not? You are literally like Winnie the Pooh stuck in a hole at this point in time. How about a happy memory for you? When we were trading for the salted pork and you were playing with those children, that was very happy memory. It was very good for the children. It made Dr. Remi smile.
In the darkness above you, again, footfalls. Someone's walking on the grates, coming closer, your voices moving closer to both of you, to yourselves.
I'm going to take that as a signal to stop, and I'm going to go back to my own, because the last thing I want is for them to catch me breaking more rules.
Make a lift pull.
4 degrees of success.
You pull yourself back out of the hole just in time. And it's dark. You've still got the pin light, but there's no light whatsoever. You hear these footfalls.
I'm going to catch my breath, and I'm going to rest, and I'm going to listen intently.
Whatever that altercation is that happened with Dr. Sweets, the whispering, there was a clattering and sort of a crawling, and it was like a bare foot against packed earth. This is booted feet. Walking upright, confidently, almost casually.
Does it sound different than the booted feet from the people that live here in Rivertown?
I'll give that to you. It's much lighter.
Okay. Then I'm going to keep quiet and still and listen.
Do you know what's funny about looking for something? Nathan's voice rings out. More often than not, it's right under your nose the whole time. I had high hopes for you, Sennet. I thought you were special too. I thought you were going to rise above the judgment that must be laid upon those who are unworthy here. And now all that's been ruined. My garden is burning.
Nathan, hold on.
It's your fault.
It's
Sennet.
not my fault.
You lied to me, Sennet.
I didn't. If we could just calm down, we can have a reasonable conversation. We're
I'm so
both-
calm, Sennet. I see what has to happen. I see now.
Why
But
aren't
only
you-
the blessed water of the river will wash you clean. And I plan on doing that. You don't, again, you've got the pin light, it's dark. You don't
Yeah.
see him, you just hear him moving around. His voice is echoing around. Then you hear something that sounds like metal creaking.
above me, above myself? No.
Like a valve is being opened. And then the sound of water rushing into your cells.
All of ours?
All of the cells begin filling with river water.
Oh no. Nathan.
It's quiet at first, just a as the water starts to splash against the dirt floors. You immediately wake up as you get wet.
Fuck, what? Shit!
Nathan has come back and he's drowning us like rats.
And then the water becomes like a torrent. There are holes along the floor, small piping across the very base of the floor.
Is the water rising despite of it having somewhere to, I guess, drain through?
Absolutely not. It's raising very quickly. It's
Okay.
not draining at all. In fact, this seems to be intentional. Like these cells have a fail-safe that have been built into them. If necessary, all of them can be flooded as the river is right next to you.
Oh.
This fail-safe ensures that when necessary, the prisoners can be permanently subdued. And Nathan has just opened the valves.
I hope you can swim.
Before anything else happens, I'd like for each of you to set your clocks to 15 minutes.
Okay.
This is outside of our roleplay time, but each of these clocks represents all of the time that the three of you have left before you drowned. Make your choices quickly.
The water. What happens between my cell and Remi's cell with the tunnel that's in between? Is Does that have an
Currently,
impact on that?
the water is only up to your knees. It's not quite to the hole yet, but you're not sure.
I wish to talk to Nathan. I want to persuade him.
Very well. What do you say?
Nathan, I do believe that perhaps we were on the wrong page of the wrong book in the wrong library, but that can be changed. That can be different. As I've said before, myself and my sister understand you, or wish to. It would be a travesty to have those that could understand you to die in such a way. Let me free so I can let my sister free, and we can help you.
You're a liar and a heretic.
I do not lie. I do not lie ever.
You struck me. You shocked me.
I did not kill you, and I could have. Just like you could have killed Sennet, but you did not. There is something there. There is something worth saving. There is something worth growing, like you would grow your dead within your garden.
You're so right. There is something worth saving here. And when the life has left your bodies, I'll set you all free. And you'll be part of my new garden.
Yeah, but one of us is missing.
What?
Not all
Doctor's
of us are
gone.
here.
Where's the doctor?
Fuck
If-
if I know, but she's off.
If you let us go, then it would be easy to trace her steps. We are very good trackers. It is what we do.
That or you should really go find her.
You hear the footfalls against the metal as it seems as if Nathan has just left.
All right, okay. He was not going to let us escape. Let's fucking go. And I'm gonna
The
take...
water is currently at the base of the holes between the cells,
Yeah.
and it starts rushing through all of them. It's an equal amount of water that's raising at this point,
Yeah.
but it's linking you all together.
I want to take
Okay.
this thing that I've made with the sheet and I want to try to throw it so that the heavy part with the ceramic in it catches on the grates and I can climb up that.
Holy shit.
The sheet, again, this is about 16 feet down, all right?
Sure.
And so you've got the sheet and you've got the heavy part with the ceramics.
Mm-hmm.
You aren't going to be able to get that high up.
What if I stood on the bed?
You're going to not be able to do that, but you do realize
I could get Meg to put it up there.
you could try that. Yes.
Do you have any tools on you? I could give you something.
I've got bobby pins in my hair.
I have my crossbows, if that could help in any way.
I could take a bolt.
I'm going to say you have bolts. Your crossbows would be so bulky and apparent that other weapons that you might have would make sense for you to have. I don't think that it would make sense for you to have been carrying a crossbow this whole time and them not to have said anything, you know. So any other weapons that you have that, like you can have the bolts, you can have any bladed weapons or anything small that you would have had on your body that wouldn't have been immediately apparent.
Mm-hmm. I'll take 2 bolts. And I'll give it to Meg and be like, go.
Dr. Sweets climbed out by making those kind of footsteps, right? Is
Mhm.
that how she had climbed out?
I mean, that's what you had told her to do.
That's-
And,
yeah.
and you heard the digging, but you don't know exactly what happened there.
I'm going to... Fuck, I don't know what to do. I have this sharp piece of the bar, and I'm
You have a couple pieces of metal.
yeah. I'm going to try to break off another bar so I can have try to get more of those. Exactly.
The water is starting to raise past the holes between the cells.
Okay.
I am going to use my sheet to split in half and bind my hands using the biggest pieces of ceramic that I can find. I am going to try to use that to climb up the side of the hole so that I can at least somehow get to the grate to be able to breathe for longer.
All right. The ceramic isn't going to help too much, but I'm going to allow you to make a climbing roll to see if you can sort of wedge yourself in the corner and help yourself.
Did I get those bolts before the water rose to these holes?
Yes.
All right.
So what I'm going to do, what I'm going to do is I'm going to
have.
have each of you now roll. So
Yeah.
you're trying to get Meg to carry this up. Is that right?
Yeah,
With the bolts?
anchor it
And
so
anchor
that
it
I can use it.
so that you
to
can use it
pull
like a
myself
rope.
up. Can you roll for my monkey knocks?
I don't need to. I'm going to have you do it.
Okay.
So
Meg.
right. Go
She's so
ahead.
smart.
Yeah. Go ahead and make a lift pull roll for me.
Monkey's so strong though. Should be.
Monkey's so strong.
And
Monkey
then
not that
I need you to
strong.
roll 3 blue die.
Okay.
And then Lenormand, I need you to roll 2 blue die and your along with your climb roll. Sennet, I need you to roll. Well, you're still trying
I'm
to
trying to get one more bar.
piece off. So
piece
lift
off
pull.
so I can
Yeah,
climb with it.
piece off, and it says with the piece off, you're gonna do a lift pull, and I need you to roll 3 blue die as well.
9 on my blue die, and I rolled a 79.
3 blue die.
Oh, I got an 8 on my blue die and 1 degree of failure, which I will mitigate.
Okay.
3 blue die, 1 exploded. So my total speed is 19. And I got, for my lift pull, 3 degrees of success.
Eventually, you manage to pull the bar loose. Lenormand, how many competency do you wish to spend?
Well, I only have 2 left, so to make this even 1 degree of success, I would have to use both.
If it matters to any of you, you're in a location hazard.
I believe I'm the only player that cannot accrue competency points.
I got nothing.
So
Wait, you have
you-
these.
nothing helps.
I have survival points. I got a lot of survival points actually.
Flywheel.
Yeah, 9 on my blue dice, 79. I don't know what that means for Meg.
Yeah. So it's not a great roll. Do you have
Yeah.
any competency remaining?
Well, I got 2 since I'm in a location hazard.
Would you like to spend some of them?
I have a role that is very important to me coming up, I feel, so no.
Meg carries the bolt up and just isn't able to get it to lock, and it falls back down as Meg is hanging from the grate above you. You don't see this again, pitch dark,
Right.
you know? The water, you just feel it sloshing around you, and you kind of feel the level of it. But you hear the clatter of the capuchin monkey above you, and then the metal knocks against itself, and the entire makeshift rope drops right next to you.
Oof.
That's okay. All right.
Currently, the water is at a height where the shorter amongst you are now treading water.
Uh-oh.
Helpful.
I'm trying to climb now using these instruments.
How did you do, Lenormand?
I had 1 degree of failure with it, and I was going to use my competency points, and then I changed my mind. I'm okay if that doesn't work because I have something else that I want to do.
All right. So you're struggling, and you don't get very far up, and you're sort of holding yourself in place just a few feet off of where the water is. You feel the water sloshing up quickly as this murky brown river water
Oh my god.
rushes around all of you. You have 1 more action.
I'm gonna climb. I'm trying to. Well, I'm using my strength to pull myself up.
Using these pegs that
Yeah, these pegs.
you can go ahead and make a climbing check, and I'm going to give you a single degree of success
Okay.
to start with, which you can mitigate if you roll poorly enough.
All right. Okay.
I also want you to roll 3 blue dice with that. Lenormand, what are you doing?
I'm going to take the biggest yield bomb that I have on me, since I seem to Just have those. I'm with this. I'm going to throw it. I'm going to throw it into the doctor's cell. My intention here is to create a big enough explosion where it can affect perhaps the gates on all of ours, but it's also not within a cell with any of us.
So you have effectively this makeshift pipe bomb, and you could most likely get it to ignite despite the water. However, that hole that you're speaking about, the grating, it's currently underwater. You'd have to swim underwater, and you'd have to hope that you could push it through somehow so that it made it all the way through to the other cell. Now, if that failed, it could be very bad.
Okay. Well, then how about if I just push myself to the bottom of my own cell and throw up to my own gate?
So yes, you could do that. You could throw the pipe bomb upward and then push yourself underwater.
Underwater, utilizing the bed.
And try to hold on to the bed, which is in fact secured to the ground in a way that would allow you to anchor yourself.
And is made of metal.
Mm-hmm. I gave you an explosives skill.
Yes, I am a grenadier.
So I would like for you to, I'll give you 1 degree of success on this to start with. But I'd like for you to make that roll and know that if it is a failure, it's going to be very bad because you are dealing with explosives. You don't have a lot of time, Flywheel. What is it that you'd like to do in this last moment?
I want to wait until I am high enough due to the water rising. I can float in it to get to the grate, and then I want to take the bolt and the bobby pin and try to pick the lock.
All right. Currently, the water is quite high, and you're just out of reach of the grating, but in another few minutes, it will be something that you can easily reach onto.
I got a 7 out of 45. And with my grenadier throwing thing, I get additional damage.
The damage isn't important here, but you do throw your pipe bomb, and you time it just right. You know a great deal about your explosives. You count carefully, and the internal chemicals mix as you twist the cap on the top. You finish your count, you throw the bomb, and then you duck down into the water, swimming as quickly as you can downward, as an explosion pushes you the rest of the way down. It doesn't harm you, but it does thrust you down roughly.
Since I had 4 degrees of success, is there something else that I can do with that?
I can either allow it to open your grate, or
the explosion didn't open my grate?
The explosion opens your grate. That's right. It can open your grate.
I would love...
And keep you safe. This is a very complicated maneuver you just pulled. In my mind, I required 3 degrees of success for you to do this without it falling back on you or causing an issue. You blew past that. You have 1 additional degree of success. I will... That's all of you, even though your timer is a little slower than the others.
Oh, it is working.
The water is now all the water now has...
You just don't mind us. We're just...
It's to the top now. So all of you are underwater with the grates down, with one exception. You, Lenormand. The grate has exploded outward. And you are underwater, and you can either use that additional success to secure yourself below water and then stay where you're at, or you can use that competency later on. So you get 1 if you choose to keep it.
My intention is to get out of this hole and to immediately start working on the grate of my sisters and then Sennet's.
All right. You manage to pull yourself up out of the water. You have one additional competency point that you can hold on to for later. How many competency do you have now?
Now I will have 3.
All right. As you pull yourself out of the water, it's now pouring out everywhere across these cells. And you look over and you see your sister's hand as you're trying to get to the lock. Fuck. What are you doing?
What kind of lock is it? Is it just like a bolt?
It's a
like you
bolt
pull
with a
it back?
padlock.
It's a padlock?
I said padlock earlier.
Mhm.
So I need the two of you to make endurance checks, please.
Okay.
As I assume you took a deep breath before the water came to a level where you could no longer breathe, but it's
yeah.
at the top now.
I would have tried to break it like Sweets had done when I was high enough to do that. I'm not sure if I can still do that while I'm underwater. Or
Leverage is much more difficult now.
Okay.
So you can try a lift pull,
Uh-huh.
but if you do so, I'm going to add dice of difficulty to both the lift pull and to your endurance check, because you're going to be exerting a lot of energy,
Yeah.
and there's a chance that you're going to lose your air here.
I will have swam. I would have positioned myself so that I can like hold on to the grate and then flip myself over so my feet are touching the roof and then yank it down
Okay.
into the water.
All right.
And I'm gonna do that.
Go ahead and make both rolls for me.
Okay.
And I need you to add 2 black dice of difficulty to both rolls.
Got it.
And roll a single blue die as well. Flywheel, you were trying to get to the lock.
Yes. Now, I promise this will be the only time I will push something with you. However, I had one action left before the water came up for picking the lock, and I said I was waiting. Can I call that like a prepared action for before the water
I'll
subsumed my head?
call it as that. Yes. So you
Cool.
can actually
Okay.
try to pick the lock before the water completely envelops you,
Amazing.
which means you won't have any dice of difficulty. Past that,
Okay.
it's going to be cumulative.
Cool. And what kind of roll am I making for that?
Go ahead and make your engineering roll.
Great. Okay. That's a wash.
Do you have any competency?
I have
remaining?
2 competency. So I'm going to use those for 2 degrees of success.
All right. As the water starts to raise up all the way, you're using your tools. There's an explosion next to you. And just as that happens, the lock pops. And then you're underwater. You can make your endurance check now.
Okay.
Lenormand, you've pulled yourself out of the water and you see your sister's grating. You realize that the lock is in fact open, but the bolt is still slid.
I immediately go over to pull the bolt. And
Go-
if need be, I can breathe into your mouth for you.
Go ahead and make just a roll 3 blue dice for me, please, Lenormand. As you pull yourself out, catch your breath, pull yourself over to that cell and try to open it.
Okay, so I did both rolls, and I'll let you. What was it? Did I roll endurance or lift pull first?
You rolled endurance first.
Then I had 2 failures on that one, and I'll use my 2 competency that I had remaining and the 1 left
To
over
create a wash.
and then you gave me
Oh,
one.
you had 1, so you have 3. So 1 degree of
1
success.
degree of success on that. And in my lift pull, I got 4 successes.
All right. So that is enough for you to be able to push this grate up just enough that you should be able to pry yourself out. But more importantly, you're able to take your face
Yes.
and gasp for air. Even though the water is flooding around you, you are not going to drown.
Okay.
But you are still, the grating is still not off. It's just pried up enough that you have to pull yourself through the gap that's created. You could keep pushing it, but at this time, you're not able to make it through easily.
I'm going to take I would have tried to have taken one of the poles and like tucked it in me when I pulled that so as to not have lost it. I probably couldn't hold on to both of them. But if I was able to hold on to one, I want to wedge it right in between that so that keeps that gap between the floor and the grate, maintains that.
All right.
If I had that.
We'll come back to you. You're struggling.
I hear, yeah.
Lenormand, how did you do?
Oh, I rolled a 6
Okay. So
for speed.
Yeah. So it takes a while. It's a lot. You've pulled yourself up. You pulled yourself out of your cell. You've moved your way over to your sister's grate. You struggle with the bolt, but you do manage to eventually open it. What was your speed?
3 dice?
Yes.
I didn't. Okay. That's 11.
Okay. How did you do on your endurance?
Now, I want to say that my endurance is only 15%.
Wow.
So I think it's pretty impressive that I only have 1 degree of failure.
Do you have any competency remaining?
I do not.
All right. You are sucking in water, and while you're not completely lost, you are slowly drowning. Lenormand, you throw the bolt open, you throw the grate open, and your sister's not coming up.
Is the sheet that were
It's
wrapped
floating
around
there, and you see Meg Ryan leap up out of the water, shake off, and like grab onto your leg immediately. And you see Flywheel under the surface. It's dark and muddy, but you see a shape. It's got to be Flywheel, and it's just floating a few feet down.
I dive in.
You jump into the water. All right.
Man, the last thing you hear as you dive in is Sennet call out to you, "Help me, I can help you." And then I hear a splash.
Yeah. And so
I wish I'd heard that before the splash.
You're now prying this grating,
Mhm.
Sennet, and you're desperately trying to make enough space for you to get through.
Yeah.
Make a final lift pull.
My lift pull is 70, and I rolled a 73.
It's a wash, we'll say. Do you have any competency remaining?
I don't have any remaining. I have survival points.
How many survival points do you have?
I have 90.
Oh, damn.
I'll take 50 survival points,
Okay.
and you're going to break your arm.
Oh my
Jesus.
god.
Oh my god.
It's good to live with a broken arm.
It's
you know?
good to live with a broken
I
arm.
mean,
I will. I want to ask for one thing.
You can ask.
I have my pendant that has the lock of hair of my son, our son. Part of the reason why this goes a little bit astray is Sennet has a moment of doubt. And instead of putting all of his energy and force into the physical act, he takes a moment and yanks off that necklace and throws it up into the surface, hoping that if he doesn't make it, that Remi will find it.
I'll allow it. So the question is, do you take the arrangement?
I do.
So 50 survival points and a broken arm.
Yep.
Is Sennet right or left-handed?
Right.
High or low?
High.
It's your left arm.
Okay.
You hear a snap as you are halfway out of this hole. And metal is scraping along your side. You're bleeding. You've managed to pry yourself out, and you're gasping, spitting water everywhere. And it's still flowing, but thankfully, somewhere there's a drain that is taking the rest of the water off. The building itself is obviously not raising in the water level, but every single one of the cells is overflowing, and the ground is wet. We'll come back to you, son.
Okay.
You jump into the water. Make a swim roll.
What? That's a thing we have.
Yeah, it is something that
Where
we
the hell
have
is it?
that I don't think any of us are very good at.
Oh my god.
You are just as good as me.
Damn.
Not a lot of Olympic swimming pools in the after.
Well,
Apocalypse.
Apocalypse, are you really gonna be like trying to swim in a pool with Romeros all around? All right, so rolled a 40 for 25. So what is that? 2 degrees of failure.
Do you have any competency remaining?
I do. I have 3.
Would you like to make it 1 degree of success? And use the rest of your competency?
I think I have to.
It's a choice, but it's yours.
Well, I'm not gonna let my sister die.
Fair enough. So, with the expenditure of those 3 competency, you succeed. You grab on to Flywheel. Flywheel, make a final endurance check.
This feels like making death saves.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
It's
it
funny you
does.
say that.
It's worse than that, really. 1 again.
Failure.
Yes.
Oh,
No
buddy.
competency remaining.
None.
You pull your sister out, Lenormand. Her face is blue. She doesn't seem to be breathing.
Sennet, you have to do the thing. You have to do what is it called? You have to help my sister
I can't
breathe.
help me. Ah!
Sennet is halfway out
Help
of
me
the
out.
grating.
And I will help her.
You see the water around Sennet turning red, and his arm is bent in a very, very uncomfortable way.
I go to help Sennet to get him to my sister.
You rush over to Sennet. How do you help?
Very carefully.
Get me up.
If I hold the grate open some more, perhaps then
Yeah, do that. Anything that I can try to pull myself out.
Are you saying you'd like to make a lift pull?
I'm trying to see if I have anything else that'll be higher than that. Don't. I mean, I could try attacking the padlock. With
Just so
something
we're
blunt.
clear, Flywheel, I'd like for you to set your clock to 5 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
I just need to get to her.
Okay.
Wouldn't holding the grate be grappling?
Okay.
Yeah, right.
I could. I probably couldn't attack the. My lift pull is not. Okay. If I lift pull, I might cause more damage to you, or I could try attacking the padlock, maybe with a smaller yield explosive, which
God.
also might do a
kill
little
you.
bit of damage. These are the options.
Am I able
You will
to?
choose.
Given
You will choose
my positioning,
quickly.
I'm going to choose yes. Am I able to? If you get her to me, can I do CPR? Can I do first aid on her?
In
Bring
this
her to me.
position, it would be very difficult, and you would most likely just be pushing her further into the water.
No. Yeah, we need to get out of here. Pull. Get me out.
Lift pull.
What can I do to help get me
I
out?
don't have anything.
You can make a lift pull as well, but you have 3 black dice of difficulty.
Like I have nothing
Roll
here.
low. I'm so good at lift pull. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
58.
Roll one at a time.
35.
Okay.
2 degrees of failure.
35. I have 3 degrees of success.
Miraculously, Sennet,
Yeah.
perhaps the urgency of the situation thrusts you forward. You find strength you didn't know you had. Lenormand, you can't unless you have competency or something that you'd like to spend, but you don't. So you pry and you're desperately trying to help, knowing that your sister's life is on the line here. But then Sennet looks over and you see his eyes fall onto Flywheel and then pries himself up, and the metal starts to grow. And you watch as these jagged pieces of grating dig deeper into Sennet's shoulders and side. But you hear the metal moving. Sennet, you're taking 2 levels of damage.
Got it.
But you pull yourself out. And you're bleeding heavily, but you pry yourself out. What do you do?
I go straight to Flywheel. Help me. And I start to administer first aid CPR. Try to revive her.
Make a first aid roll.
I'm assisting in any way that I can.
Do you have first aid training?
I have a 15% in it, which is why I was trying to help.
You're
Sennet.
welcome to help, but know
No.
that sometimes when it comes to medical situations, the wrong kind of help can be catastrophic.
Keep telling me that story that you were telling me, that one of the time,
Oh,
the kids and whatever games.
because you.
It's helping.
One could tell that they did
What arm
not
compressions?
have a lot of laughter in their lives, and in fact, that entire village was all about salting.
Now talk to
things.
her. Talk to her and try to get her to hear your voice. Get her to come back to you.
I never held it against you, by the way. That you didn't come. I didn't hold it against you, and I don't want you to leave me thinking that I did. Oh my god, I rolled a 2.
Wow.
1 degree of success.
I have 1 degree of success in
So
first
with
aid.
2 degrees of success, you start pumping. You breathe into Flywheel's mouth and continue to press against her chest with compressions. Water spurts out of your mouth. Flywheel, you can stop your timer 30 seconds before you die.
Forgot the timer.
I can't handle it.
I never did. I never did hold it against you. I did understand. I know how I can be sometimes, and I did understand. I do not want you to leave me in this way, though. Never in this way.
Oh, the drinks here are terrible.
There's just one more thing. Sennet, make an endurance check with 3 black dice of difficulty.
Okay.
If you have a higher resist pain, you could use that.
I think this is good. Yeah, it's endurance. 3 black die of difficulty.
Yes.
Okay, come on, baby, roll low. Okay. Okay. Just don't explode. Oh my god.
Oh my god. No.
1 degree of failure.
Do you have any competency remaining?
I don't have any competency remaining.
I have survival points, and I have watched Dr. Remi do many bindings. I have the sheet that is floating right there, and I would like to help Sennet.
I hear you.
I have 60 survival points altogether.
What happens first? You are still far out of it. You're gaining your surroundings, realizing exactly how bad the situation is. You look over Flywheel and you see Sennet drop into the water in a pool of blood as it starts to disperse around him in the muddy filth. And you lose consciousness.
The last thing that he was doing was searching for the locket, and if he found it, he would have been reaching for it as the lights went out.
Your hand struggles forward towards something. You don't know what Sennet's reaching towards. You have 50 survival points that you're willing to spend here.
Yes.
Well, you have 60, but for 50, I'll allow you to use the soaked covers to staunch the bleeding. And maybe help Sennet.
I will do my best. It is all that I can do.
Then I'll take those 50 survival points and have you roll a first aid.
Another one?
I'm not imposing any black dice of difficulty.
Oh, man.
You got this.
A 35.
It's 2 degrees of failure, however. You don't know. You press the rags against his wounds. There's still blood everywhere, still pouring out in the water. You might be helping. You just don't know. You're starting to sort of understand what's happening, and you see Sennet dying in front of you as Lenormand presses these rags down into his wounds to try to keep him from bleeding out.
Why is he so fucking big?
Meg Ryan, soaked, runs up to you,
All right.
landing on your shoulder.
I look at Meg. You go left. I go right.
She's holding a ring of keys.
You fucking genius.
We are in a formation,
So be it.
which would help with
I want to get out of here to look for Remi.
morale.
We don't know what we're fucking doing.
If you break the formation, you can do so.
The formation will help morale only, not
Yeah.
really. Well, if we were in a
Right.
situation with Lincoln, then it would help a lot with leadership things, but otherwise it is just a morale
That's a
thing.
good one, Norma.
Lenormand, you can't move. I mean, you couldn't move Sennet. The two
Right.
of you couldn't move Sennet if you wanted to. Your real only option here is to keep pressing and hope that Sennet lives. So, Flywheel, it's up to you.
Oh, absolutely.
Tell me where you go.
Well, I have the keys,
Mhm.
and is the door locked to get out of here?
Would you like to examine the door?
Surely would. Yes.
You move across this large warehouse space and make your way to the double doors, and yes, there's a chain wrapped around it, but it's not locked from the inside. It's locked from the outside.
Sucks.
You press, and there's a gap about this big.
Big enough for Meg to fit through?
Meg would fit through.
Do I care more about Meg or Sennet? Meg's not going to look for Remi. However, Meg is smart. Give Meg the keys.
You have every faith in Meg, but you don't think Meg is going to unlock.
Damn it. Can I reach through the gap and just start trying the keys on the lock outside?
You certainly can. All
Yeah.
I need you to do is to make a balance check.
Balance.
Oh,
Balance has come so much in
It's
for me
such an
today.
awkward position.
Yeah.
And if you fail, you're going to drop the keys.
oh boy.
Oh yeah.
Come on. Fuck. That is 2 degrees of failure.
With no competency.
No competency.
The keys drop out of your hand and hit the ground on the other side of the door.
Anybody? Hello? Is there fucking anybody out here who can help? Or has realized the water pouring out of this fucking building?
May I find Sennet's locket since it was nearby?
Yes. You find the locket. What do you do with it?
It seemed as though this was important to you. Is it a locket with the hair inside of it?
Mm-hmm. It opens up, and inside is a strand of hair. Lock of hair.
Then I press that on your face. It's like,
Dr.
there was
Remi,
something for you to come back to, Sennet.
Sennet is still unconscious, but you say this. Dr. Remi, make an advanced medicine check.
Okay. Whoop. That is 2 degrees of failure.
Do you have any competency remaining?
I do not.
How many survival points do you have?
I have 80.
For 50, I'll allow you to succeed and save this man's life.
Do we need this person? Okay. I'll take it.
It's hard, but you manage to suture the wounds, pull the slug out, and save his life. The man opens his eyes slowly, clearly fuzzy as he focuses on your face.
Hey. We found you.
Where
In a field?
is she?
Who?
He falls unconscious again. Somewhere else, in a pristine white underground bunker, there's a single light from a projector. It shows a light. The map that is exhibited on the wall has a series of blue stars across it, with a river through the center. The woman standing off to the side of this map is addressing a number of individuals who are seated in front of her. Strike force, Daedalus. We have managed to acquire the signal. We know where they are now. We're activating your cell, along with Damocles. We're enacting Salted Earth Protocol. And that is where we're going to end our story for tonight.